going on, Bulls fans? Welcome into the Bulls Report. My name is Patrick Siepman, and coming up on today's show, it is a fun one. We're going to be going over the top Zach LaVine trade destinations, going over 5 trades of 5 teams who I believe could be interested in Zach LaVine this upcoming year. But I want you guys to voice your opinion on this here real quick, because I feel like 80% of Bulls fans are in the camp that they need to move off Zach LaVine, but there is a smaller, minority that thinks the Bulls should keep him. So if you guys want the Bulls to trade Zach LaVine, like today's video, and if you guys don't, comment your thoughts on why. Give me your opinion down below in the comment section, but want to get the pulse of the fan base on this one. So yes, like the video, no, comment why. Curious to see how the results end up shaking out. But what's the biggest kicker in terms of trading Zach LaVine? I mean, 1, it's his injuries, 2, performance on the court, but probably the biggest reason is his contract. And as it's shaking out right now, he is on the books this upcoming year for $43 million. In 2025, he is on the books for $46. 26, he's on the board for $48 million. He does have a player option in 2026 as well, but I'm assuming he's going to opt into that. But he also has a 15% trade bonus. Now, this trade bonus does not go to the team that is trading for him. It would actually be the Bulls paying 15% of his salary each upcoming year. So that's the biggest hurdle in terms of trading for Zach LaVine. But let's go over 5 trade destinations for the all-star guard. And number 1, if I had to put my money on it, if LaVine gets dealt at all this offseason, I think it's going to be the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, we've heard Rich Paul come out and say, pretty much defending his client, Zach LaVine, and saying he's handled, his time with the Chicago Bulls with complete maturity. So I think there could be maybe an inside route to him ending up in Los Angeles. But this was a trade I saw floated out there. And I'll tell you what, Lakers fans, if you're watching this video, this would be a steal for you guys. But this would be how it shakes out. So it would be the Lakers receiving Zach LaVine and Walker Kessler. And then the Jazz would be getting D'Lo, Rui Hachimura, and a 2029 first-round pick from the Los Angeles Lakers. I think the Jazz would say yes to that in a heartbeat. Just giving up Walker Kessler, you got 2 players and a really, really great draft pick in the Lakers' 29 pick. But also the Bulls would be receiving John Collins, Gabe Vincent, and a 2025 second-round pick for the Lakers, which I think would be, just good icing on the cake there. I love John Collins, 26 years old, reminds me a lot of Aaron Gordon. Can play that stretch 4, very physical basketball player. So I would love this move, honestly, for all 3 teams. But my take on the Lakers trading for Zach LaVine is an obvious one. I think after watching the Olympics and seeing LeBron James and Anthony Davis be the 2 best players on the court for this Olympic team, I think the Lakers would be stupid not to try and bring in another star next to Bron and Anthony Davis. And what is their biggest need? Is it an over-the-top scorer that can get it done from all 3 levels? And that is Zach LaVine. I understand his red flags, the defense, the leadership. But if he would go to the Lakers, they would be able to mask some of those red flags, with Davis being the backbone of that defense and obviously Bron being one of the best leaders in all of sports. But there's no doubt Zach LaVine is still an incredibly productive basketball player. Like, yes, this past season, career lows, or not career lows, but the lowest averages he has had over the last 4 seasons, 19 points per game, only played in 25 ball games this past season, but he was still efficient. Like, that's the thing with LaVine. He's a damn near 40% three-point shooter, great athlete, can get to the rim. And I think as we just continue throughout the Zach LaVine saga and all these reports about, LaVine having no trade market, I just necessarily disagree with that. Like, who wouldn't want a 3-level scorer who can put the ball in the bucket at a high level, especially if you're a championship contender like the Lakers? I could see them being very, very interested. But my second team here is the Clippers, the other Los Angeles team here. And for similar reasons to the Lakers, I think they need that 3rd star next to Harden, next to Kawhi Leonard. They lost Paul George in free agency to the Philadelphia 76ers. So I think they could be definitely in the Zach LaVine sweepstakes here. And what would the trade look like? Well, you got to match contracts here. So they would have to include P.J. Tucker's $11 million, Terrence Mann, and Norman Powell. I would freaking love this trade for the Chicago Bulls, because you could flip Norman Powell for potentially another first-round pick. Then also Terrence Mann, one of the best young players in the NBA, great point-of-attack defender. But the Bulls would have to attach the Portland pick, which is lottery protected. It's not going to convey. I'm fine with giving that up. And then also 2 second-round picks that they did get in the DeMar DeRozan sign and trade to Sacramento. And listen, the Clippers are in a very interesting spot right now. Like, I think they are, and I'll put this take out there, general NBA right now. I think they are one Kawhi Leonard injury away from potentially being one of the worst teams in the entire Western Conference. Now, the thing is, their pick next season heads to the Oklahoma City Thunder. So could you imagine a scenario where the Clippers, Kawhi Leonard goes down the injury, and it's the James Harden show in Los Angeles? I could no doubt see somehow the Thunder, that's the craziest thing about the Thunder, is that they somehow have an outside track to landing Cooper frickin' Flag, as in my opinion, they are actually the best basketball team in the NBA heading in the next season. But, man, Clippers are in an interesting spot. They need to go all in on this year. Considering they don't have the draft picks for the next 5 years, I see no reason why they wouldn't be interested in Zach LaVine. But what about the San Antonio Spurs here? Now, this was the team I originally thought was going to trade LaVine in the offseason, as they still have Wemby on his rookie deal. They have the leadership of Greg Popovich in that system, so they could definitely, mask some of LaVine's red flags, similar to how we talked about the Lakers. But what would the trade look like? Well, it would just be Keldon Johnson for Zach LaVine, and the Bulls get their first-round pick back, just remove the protections of it. So even if somehow it would be a disaster if the Bulls make the play-in tournament and, their pick ends in 11 to 15, it would still be their, selection there. And listen, if I were the Spurs, I would try to take advantage of Victor Wembanyama still on his rookie deal. I've used this comparison. Like, Wemby right now is so good that it's almost similar to, an NFL team taking advantage of a rookie quarterback on his rookie deal, where they could build a loaded team around him. And could you imagine, let's just say Wemby takes that next step and he's a top 7 basketball player in the world next year, and you got Chris Paul, Zach LaVine, Devin Vassell and Victor Wembanyama and Harrison Barnes. Like, if Wemby's that good, that's a hell of a ball club down there in San Antonio. So keep your eyes out on the Spurs still, even though I guess I was still, technically wrong about that so far. I still think there's an outside chance that they could trade for LaVine. But I want to ask you guys this, as, I feel like we're splitting the two camps here. I feel like some people are like, oh, it's all Billy Donovan's fault. Some people are like, oh, it's all Zach LaVine's fault on why the Bulls have been mediocre for the past couple of seasons. You guys let me know. Who's more to blame? Type BD for Billy Donovan or type ZL for Zach LaVine. We got 2 more trade destinations for LaVine coming up in just a second. But first off, I want to give a huge shout out to today's presenting sponsor, and that is Game Time, the best ticket purchasing app out there right now. And if you guys download the Game Time app, create an account, and use promo code ChatSports, terms apply. First purchase only with promo code ChatSports. We will hook you guys up with $20 off. Now, if you guys are trying to hit Wrigley Field for a game or trying to see the disaster of the Chicago White Sox play some ball this season, Game Time is the #1 way to do so. White Sox tickets are super cheap. They're under $10 for, some nosebleeds. So, hey, if you guys want to get a free beer at the game, Game Time could hook you guys up. Use that discount code ChatSports on your first purchase. Again, terms apply. Download the Game Time app. Use that promo code CHATSPORTS. And we'll hook you guys up with $20 off. But my favorite part of Game Time, you guys see it on the right side of your screen right now. You guys can actually see your view from your seat before you actually buy a ticket, because that is the most annoying thing. You buy a ticket on another ticket purchasing app and you can't see the view from your seat. Well, Game Time, they allow you to do so. So if there's a pole in the way or whatever it may be, you guys can assure yourself that you are getting the best viewing experience at whatever event you try to go to. So download the Game Time app. Use promo code CHATSPORTS. Again, terms apply. First purchase only. Download the app. I'll put that link for you guys in the comment section and description of today's show. But shout out to Game Times for sponsoring today's edition of the Bulls Report. Give them a look. Trust me, you guys will not regret it. But number 4 for me, as I'm looking at this, is all Western Conference teams so far. We actually do have an Eastern Conference team coming up here in a second. But what about the Golden State Warriors? Now, this is the trade idea I've seen floated out there. It would be the Warriors receiving Zach LaVine, and the Bulls would get Andrew Wiggins, Gary Payton, and Kevon Looney. I would love this deal for the Bulls because, one, you could keep Andrew Wiggins on this team for this season. Maybe he ups his trade value, and you could deal him at the trade deadline for hopefully a first-round pick. But then you would be getting one of my favorite centers in the NBA, Kevon Looney, an absolute rebound machine. I would love him on the Bulls. I love his archetype a whole lot more than a guy like Nikola Vucevic. But, the question I have for the Golden State Warriors, will you waste Curry's remaining years? Because he is still a top 10 player in the world, no doubt about it. Like, there's no argument you can make where, you could leave Steph Curry out of your top 10 players in the league list. And we've heard the reports that they could be all in on Lauri Markkanen. But let's just say they can't get a deal done with the Utah Jazz. I could see LaVine being their second option, and maybe he could head to the Golden State Warriors. Now, the fit, I got question marks around that. Like, could you run not a plus defensive guard next to Steph Curry? Not too sure how that would work out, but offensively, like you would have Buddy Hield, Curry, obviously, Zach LaVine. Still, hopefully, if you're Golden State, you get that jump from Jonathan Kuminga. Still have Draymond as that defensive backbone. And, I think the Warriors are very similar to how the Patriots were a couple years ago, where you just have that winning culture. You have that winning DNA. And I think LaVine, if he gets in that system, we could see the best version of him, potentially we have seen in the NBA. So keep your eyes out on the Golden State Warriors. Not likely, but hey, if they miss out on Lauri Markkanen, I could see them getting desperate and trying to trade for LaVine. But number 5 here, this is my dark horse. This is the team that I don't think people are talking about enough. What about the Atlanta Hawks? Now, we heard rumors this offseason. They're either going to pick Trae Young or DeJounte Murray. Ended up picking Trae Young, traded away DeJounte Murray to the New Orleans Pelicans. But what if they decide to ship off Clint Capella and DeAndre Ayton to the Chicago Bulls, and then the Bulls would just have to give up that Portland pick, which, I'm really curious to see, what other teams view that Portland pick as, if just like a throw-in pick, just to make it look better in the trade, where it's like, oh, the Bulls gave up LaVine and a first-round pick for Capella and Hunter, like, just maybe some good PR there. But, hey, I'll tell you what, watch out for the Atlanta Hawks. I would actually like the fit of LaVine next to DeJounte Murray more than or next to Trae Young in comparison to the fit next to DeJounte Murray. I just think LaVine's a better off-ball player, and Murray works better with the ball in his hand. So keep your eyes out on them. But hey, you guys let me know, where will Zach LaVine play his hoops next season? If I had to call it right now, I'm going the Lakers. I think they're going to get desperate. I think they're going to want to trade for LaVine. But hey, maybe you guys disagree with me. Let me know your thoughts down below. And also, if you guys want to give me a follow on Twitter, that's a handle right there, @PatSieps. But thank you guys so much for watching. As always, go Bulls.